a way of Kenyans expressing displeasure at the rate at which this taxation is taking place without having a very robust conversation. So I think it is a problem Kenya can surmount. I am glad that the government backtracked on some of those tax measures that were going to be punitive. Kenya has a lot of debt to pay, and this debt, the debtors are calling. Kenya has got to honor its obligations if it wants to continue to have a positive credit rating, because with a bad credit rating, it means no international financier will want to touch you. So Kenya is caught in between having to pay its debt and on time develop, and at the same time get new sources of financing to meet this huge expenditure that the government ambitiously wants to pursue.
Edgar, how about people who argue, for example, the United States is arguably one of the most developed, economically sound countries. Our taxes here are very, very high. For every dollar I make, they take 30% off before I even see it. But when you drive around, when you go to hospitals, when you drive on the roads, you see that money goes to work.
Yeah.
How about Kenyans borrowed an idea from the United States? All these other places that have developed have in some way, shape or form paid higher taxes, because you cannot just develop without taxing the people.
The US, 30%, some countries in Europe as high as 40%, 45%. But you see the difference is that from the African perspective and the Kenyan perspective, is not seeing the translation of those taxes into services and into infrastructure. So I think now the debate, you've introduced something very new, you've introduced something very interesting, and I think this is where Kenyans are. Can we trust the government? Can the government regain the trust of its people in showing them this is the money we collected from you last year, these are the projects, and to actually see the actualization of those projects?
Politics of the belly. You're talking about hungry people, unemployed people, people who have absolutely nothing, but they're being told, in addition to not having food to put on the table, we are going to be charging you an extra 10%, 20%. These are the very people who are taking on to the streets. Now, if you are President William Ruto, what would you do to convince those young people and to tell them, you know what, at the end of the day, I'm doing it for the good of the country?
We have a disgruntled population of young people who are between, let's call them 20 years and 32 years old, who are not gainfully employed and who are feeling the frustration. Some of them are breadwinners, some of them are already married, some of them already have young families, and the frustration is getting to them. They were all united with one message: we are tired. So find out how to reach these various segments, the different segments, so that they end up feeling like this government belongs to us and this government can serve us.